Hello you all, I am BlaqueWitchYaya. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. And today I want to talk about the time 11:11. But to really understand this time is to simply understand what does the number 11 mean. In my previous video, when I did the spiritual meaning of numbers, I stopped at number 10 just because I wanted to dedicate an entire video to the number 11. Since it's a very powerful, forceful, just spiritual number, I decided this needs this entire video. So I decided to do a condensed breakdown of the number 11. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to go over the crystal of the day. And today we have the red jasper. Don't let the color fool you. Red jasper is gently stimulating and also an extremely protective stone. It can neutralize radiation and other forms of environmental and electromagnetic pollution. Red jasper rectifies unjust situations and grounds energy, brings problems to light, and provides insights into difficult situations. And you can get your red jasper from BlaqueWitchYaya.com. Breaking down the number 11 first, it's the number 1 and another number 1. So of course the number 11 carries the soul meaning of the number 1 as well. If you would like to dive more into what the number 1 means, go ahead and tune into my first video where I did the spiritual meaning of numbers. But since there are 2 ones, it also carries the trait of 2 as well, meaning empathy, sensitivity, and harmony. And it's harmony because when you think of a choir, everyone's singing on one chord, everyone sounds so good, you will call that harmony. So when you add 2 number 1s, both of those frequencies are in one harmony. So with intuition, sensitivity, harmony, empath, and just suddenly seeing that number, we can kind of relate to the number 11 as our sixth sense. And I say this because many people automatically, when they see the time 11:11 or see repeating numbers in general, they always question what does that mean, because what is my luck? I look at the clock and it's 11:11. For myself, I always think about what am I doing in that exact moment. So when you see the time 11:11, just pause and think about what you were just thinking about, what you're doing, what you're wearing, who are you speaking to, just to kind of get the message from the universe. Because I feel like when we suddenly see 444 or 11:11 or 333, it's kind of like a wink from the universe, like, all right, I see you. And especially if you're doing any rituals or spell work and you see the time 11:11, just kind of reflect on what you were doing right there at that moment. Is it helping your ritual? Is it going to be a detriment to your ritual? So use the time 11:11 as a moment of reflection. Many people do make a wish. It is a powerful number frequency, but for myself, I just like to think, okay, what was I just doing? What was I just thinking about? Because obviously I need to pay attention to that very moment of what I was doing. With the number 11 being so spiritual, it is mainly to push your mortal limitations, to awaken your spiritual side and really think more in depth of you as a flesh person and your spirit as well. For example, if you are doing a ritual for self-confidence, right? So you're in the bathroom washing your hands, and you look up in the mirror, you're like, oh, I look horrible today. And then you're walking out the bathroom, you look at the time, it's 11:11. That very moment, you need to think, okay, I just said I look horrible today. I'm doing a ritual for self-confidence. I'm just being my own contradiction, and I'm working against what I am working on with my ritual. So that's basically the universe like, don't do that. You need to change your train of thought. Go back in that mirror and say you look wonderful today. Just little things like that. Or if you're working on your anger and you're having road rage, you're yelling at the car behind you or in front of you, you giving somebody the bird. The next thing you know, you look at your car, it's 11:11. You're working on your anger, and look, you just had this random outburst. Start working on that. Or if you're in sync with someone, or you want to know with someone, your soulmate, and y'all just had a beautiful conversation and the phone call ended in 11 minutes and 11 seconds, you can always think of moments like that, like a little signal. Pay attention to what's going on. For myself, I like to think of repeating times as the universe like, hey, pay attention to this. Don't let this go by. Look, as I've stressed in almost every single one of my videos, spirituality will be different for everybody because it's up to your own spirit. So what works for you may not work for someone else. You always want to take advice and make it into your own. So with that being said, if I see the number 11:11 and Jessica sees the number 11:11, we're both going to have 2 different interpretations of it, because I may have been thinking one thing at the time, she may have been doing something else. So that signal from the universe is going to be different from the message that I received from the universe. So when people say, oh my gosh, I keep seeing the time 11:11, and they're asking me, I'm just like, okay, so what were you doing? Where were you going? What are you working on? Is there something you've been stressed about? I can't really answer it for you, because it's all about your mental and your spiritual set. So you really want to make sure that you're paying attention to yourself, because I feel like throughout life we're always, oh, I gotta go to work, I gotta pick up the kids, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, but we never take time to self-reflect. And when we do see the time 11:11, it's like, oh my gosh, what does that mean? And we can't really analyze it because we're not paying attention and we're not meditating for ourselves, just to gain self-awareness. We know a lot of information about everybody, but we don't know ourselves. So you can't really ask someone, I seen the time 11:11, and get a detailed description of what it meant for you, because you've seen the time. So you really have to pay attention to what you were doing. But you can get a general synopsis, which is the purpose of this video, of what the time 11:11 means. What does the number 11 mean? And just repeating numbers in general, take that information and apply it to what you have going on. Also, you guys, just a little disclaimer, if you see me talking very dramatically, I'm still trying to get used to these braces. This is my second time having braces in life, and I'm still like, they just feel funny. So if I'm talking funny, let me get used to these bad boys. Many people take the time 11:11 to make a wish, just because the time 11:11 is a set frequency in the universe. So it's a very powerful moment to get in touch with your spiritual side. So many people use that moment to make a wish or set their intentions. I use it to manifest. Like, I just do an affirmation, like, I see the time 11:11, I will be successful. Boom, there it is, there you go. Just because that time is like a really nice catch, and it's random, and you never know when you're going to see it. So always try to take advantage of it, whether you're going to do some self-reflection, do an affirmation, but don't sit at the clock at 11:09 like, okay, 2 more minutes, all right, here it goes. Kind of just let it catch you off guard, because you'll really get the meaning of it when you weren't expecting it. If you're just walking through somewhere, you're doing your work, and you see the time 11:11, that is a great self-reflection moment. Like, for example, that I mentioned before, if you are doing a ritual for self-confidence, and then you look in the mirror and say you're horrible, use that time 11:11 to give yourself a powerful affirmation to add on to the impact of your ritual. So for us spiritual people, just use that moment to self-reflect, to do affirmations, to affirm anything, to get rid of any self-doubt, to pay attention to your surroundings and warning signs from the universe. If you're at work and your manager just told you off, you walk out her office and it's 11:11, that's toxic energy. You need to get rid of that. You didn't see that time for no reason. Also, it's funny that I use the example of doing a ritual for self-confidence, because the angel number 1111 helps with your self-esteem. So if you feel like you're struggling with anything, you don't feel like your body is the best, you don't feel like your speech is the best or your performance is the best, give yourself an affirmation in that moment to connect with the angel number, and you will see a difference start to happen when you use that powerful time. Also, like I mentioned in my previous video, the spiritual meaning and history of Halloween, I was using October 31st and November 1st. So November 1st is 11:1. So that's 111, and that is when the realm between the living and the dead is the thinnest. So when you take the time 11:11, that is when the realm is at its highest divine frequency, and you can really use that moment in time to just stop, reflect, and manifest. So that is a very simple breakdown of the time 11:11 and some things you can do during that time. What does that time mean, and how to figure out what that time means for you in that moment. Because if you see 11:11 on a Monday, it may have a totally different meaning if you see it again on a Saturday. So you really just want to take time to reflect on what you were doing, what you were thinking, and who is around you. So use that moment to be like, all right, so what's going on in here? All right, who around me? Okay, what was I just thinking? What was I just doing? So just use that moment to self-reflect, manifest, and affirm any spiritual work that you're doing or any rituals that you are working on. Just use that time to your advantage. Don't forcefully try to find it. Just let it come to you, because that'll be a natural message from the universe. But thank you all so much for tuning into this video. Like I always say, as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. Until next time, you guys, BlaqueWitchYaya.